Welcome to this complete ClickUp project management tutorials. In this course, we're going to learn how to use ClickUp to plan, organize, execute, monitor, and manage projects from start to finish. If you're a project manager, project coordinator, team leader, business owner, or someone who wants to improve the way you manage projects, this tutorial is designed for you. Clickup is an all-in-one project and work management platform that allows teams to manage tasks, projects, documents, communication, reporting, and workflows in one place. Instead of having your project information scattered across spreadsheets, emails, chats, and different applications, ClickUp gives you a centralized workplace where you can organize and track your work. So, who should actually use ClickUp? ClickUp can be used by individuals, small teams, large organizations, project managers, marketing teams, operation teams, software teams, consultants, and many other types of professionals. For project managers, specifically, ClickUp can help with planning, task assignments, scheduling, collaboration, progress tracking, reporting, and project documentation. ClickUp offers different plans, including a free option and a paid plan with additional features and capability. If you're just learning ClickUp or managing simple projects, the free plan can be a good place to start. However, some advanced features, storage limit, reporting capabilities, automation options, and other functionality may depend on the plan you're using. So before choosing a plan for your organization, always check ClickUp's current pricing and future limits. One of the reasons ClickUp is popular with Project Manager is that it brings many project management activities into one platform. You can create tasks, assign responsibilities, set deadlines, manage dependencies, create dashboards, automate workflows, collaborate with your team, and track progress. And that's what we are going to learn throughout this tutorial. Before we create our project, there's something very important you need to understand about ClickUp. It's hierarchy. ClickUp uses a structure that helps you organize your work from the highest level down to the individual tasks. The structure is Workspace, Space, Folder, List, Tasks, Subtasks, and ClickUp. Let's break each one down. The workspace is the highest level of ClickUp environment. Think of it as your organization's overall workspace. For example, if you're managing projects for a company called ABC Limited, ABC Limited could have one ClickUp workspace. Next is the space. Space helps you separate major work areas. For example, if you could have a project management space, a marketing space, an operations space, and an HR space. In our example, we are going to create a space specifically for project management. Within a space, we can create folders. Folders helps us group related works together. For example, inside our project management space, we could have a folder called client project and another called internal project. Next, we have lists. A list contains tags that belongs to a particular workflow or project. For our tutorial, we will use the list to represent our actual project. Task represents the individual piece of work that needs to be completed. For example, if we are managing a website redesign project, one task could be gather website requirement. If a task is too large, we can break it down into smaller subtasks. So that's where the subtask comes in. For example, under gather website requirements, we could have subtasks for meeting with stakeholders, documenting requirements, reviewing requirements, and getting approvals. Finally, we have checklists. Checklists are useful when a task contains several small steps that don't necessarily need to be managed as separate tasks. Understanding this hierarchy is important because it determines how you structure your project in ClickUp. Now that we understand the hierarchy, let's create our workspace. I'm going to start from the ClickUp home screen and select the options to create a new workspace. I'll give the workspace a name that represents the organizations or area I'm managing. Once the workspace is created, this becomes our central environment for managing projects. So let's get to it. We're going to build it in 4 steps. We'll start with the workspace, then after that we're going to add our space, we'll add our folder, and we'll add our list. Now we'll begin creating our tasks. Each task should represent a specific piece of work that needs to be completed. If a task is too large, we'll break it into subtasks. This is one of the most important principles I want you to remember when using Clickup. Don't create a massive task for an entire project. Break the work into manageable pieces. We can also create milestones. A milestone represents an important point or achievement within the project. For example, completing the project plan could be a milestone, completing recordings could be another, and publishing the final tutorial could be another. Next, we'll add due date and priority. Due dates tell us when the work needs to be completed, while priority helps us determine which task requires more immediate attention. This gives the project team a clear understanding of what needs to happen and when. Let's break each one down. The workspace is the highest level of ClickUp environment. Think of it as your organization's overall workspace. For example, if you're managing projects for a company called ABC Limited, ABC Limited could have one ClickUp workspace. Next is the space. Space helps you separate major work areas. For example, if you could have a project management space, a marketing space, an operations space, and an HR space. In our example, we are going to create a space specifically for project management. Within a space, we can create folders. Folders helps us group related works together. For example, inside our project management space, we could have a folder called client project and another called internal project. Next, we have lists. A list contains tasks that belongs to a particular workflow or project. For our tutorial, we will use the list to represent our actual project. Task represents the individual piece of work that needs to be completed. For example, if we are managing a website redesign project, one task could be gather website requirements. If a task is too large, we can break it down into smaller subtasks. So that's where the subtask comes in. For example, under gather website requirements, we could have subtasks for meeting with stakeholders, documenting requirements, reviewing requirements, and getting approvals. Finally, we have checklists. Checklists are useful when a task contains several small steps that don't necessarily need to be managed as separate tasks. Understanding this hierarchy is important because it determines how you structure your project in ClickUp. Now that we understand the hierarchy, let's create our workspace. I'm going to start from the ClickUp home screen and select the option to create a new workspace. When creating a workspace, depending on the project, if it's personal, you could use your name for your workspace. You could see above here we have Deborah and Fon's workspace. If it is your departmental project, you could actually name your workspace according to the name of your department. Say Directorate Service Support, Business Support Services, Admin, depending on what project you're doing and the department. In my own take, so I already have something worked out for business support, so I'll click create workspace. Then since this is personal, I'll click on personal because workspace is for personal use. What would you like to manage? I'll click on personal use. So depending on what you like to manage, is it HR recruiting, is it PMO, is it finance and accounting, software, sales and CRM, IT support, creative, and depending on whatever you like to manage. So you click on it. We're going with personal. Email address, people you like to invite. So if you're working with your team, this is where you put in your team's email address, members of your team, you do that. So for here, we're going to skip that. Then Clickup is going to ask you if you use any of these tools. So if you've used Asana, you've used Slack, you've used Ricky, Zoom, whichever, you could actually pick on it. So we'll actually leave it at let's say we've not used any tools, right, because we're starters and fresh, and we'll click that. So if you know you've used any of these tools, you could actually pick it up, right, because it will help in kind of creating something for you. So which features are you interested in trying? So we're going to pick the calendar, pick the form, tasks and projects, scheduling. We'll do the clips, the whiteboard. There's a Kanban somewhere here, board and Kanban. Let's do, so we'll just pick as much as possible, right, so that it could yeah, we'll use AI as well, so we're interested in that. So we'll just go to next. What would you like to name the workspace? So let's name this PMP with Deborah, right? That will be our workspace. Let's put tools, PMP tools with Deborah. That will be the name of our workspace. Almost there. Yeah, we're all set. So I gave the workspace a name that represents what we're doing. You could actually give it a name that represents your organizations or area you are managing. Once the workspace is created, this becomes your central environment for managing projects. So PMP tools with Deborah, this is our central environment for managing our project. Next I'm going to do is to create space. I'll call this project management. So we'll click create, or under here we have space. We could actually click on it. Okay, sorry, I think we need a new space. So you could actually click on the new space here, or you come up where you have the home, you on your right you see the plus button, click on it, then there will be a drop down, you come down to space, click on the space, and then you could call it whatever you want to call it. So I'll call this project management. So whatever you want to call your space, depending on your project, you name it. Description, we'll leave it optional. So whatever the aim for description, sorry, we'll leave it blank. The aim for the description is so that when your team comes in, they actually understand what the space is all about, what they are to do, what is expected of them in this space. So click on continue. Define your workflow. So we're going to pick starter, right, because we're starting. So depending on if you're managing like the marketing team, project management, or the IT team, you could pick any of those niche there, but we'll go with starter and we'll create our space. So this space contains the project and work related to project management. Remember our space is named project management, so you have it here, project management. Next thing we'll do is to create a folder. So under project management, click on the plus button, drop down, click on folder. Then I'll name this content creation project. Give a description on what the folder is all about so that it's actually easy for your team to understand what is it. I'll leave that blank and we'll click create. So this is just an example. I'll show you another workspace that has been done that has all this I've said together so that you understand it better. The purpose of this folder is to group our content related projects together. So now we see our folder is created, content creation project. The next thing we're going to create is our lists. So come down here, click on the list. This is where we'll create our actual project. I'll name it Clickup Full Tutorial Project. Clickup. Then we'll click on create. So AI is giving us suggestions for it. You could actually say no thanks, it just looks blank, or you could actually apply its suggestion. So let's go with okay. So for the purpose of training, I will leave it blank, right? I could still do another one so I see it without the AI suggestion. So this is how it looks like with the AI suggestion. This is how it looks like, right? So let's delete that and do it without the AI suggestion so that it is being simple. It's simple for you. So AI has already made this simple that you could see how it looks like when it's completed, when it's being reviewed, when it's been in progress and not started. That doesn't mean that we've done anything yet, right? So let's do another list. Let's create lists. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like without AI. So you have your name, your assignee, your due date, your priority, and you have where you could add your tags. So we now have our basic project structure in place. So we're going to look at task management. Let's take a closer look at task management. Let's go to where we have what we have previously, right? That AI created for us. All right, well said. So I'm going to open one of our tasks. The task is where most of the actual project management works happens. So you have add tasks. Sure about that. So we're going to add our tags. So at the top bottom where you have your group, subtask, column, filter for your tags and settings, you'll see where you have add tags. Click on add tags. You could give the name of your tags depending on what it is, right? You could give a description of the tags. You could actually put an assignee. Note that when we add a detailed description to explain exactly what needs to be done. That's the description here. So a good description, a good task description should provide enough information for the person responsible for the task to understand what is expected. That's why I've been saying, oh, description, when we created our folder, when we created our lists, when we also created our space. So giving that description, which is optional, which is also necessary, provides enough information for the person who is responsible for the task or people in your team to understand what is expected of them. So with that, you also have this is where you have your description. AI can actually assist that. That's a good thing about Clickup. You have AI to assist you with that. We have an assignee. So here we can assign the task to a team member. This establishes clear ownership. Every important task should have someone responsible for moving it forward. We also have our due date. We can also add that. This allows us to monitor deadlines and identify overdue work. We also have our priority. We can set a priority based on the importance or urgency of the task. If we scroll down after this has been created, you actually see where we have our attachments, we have our tags, we have our dependencies, we have our checklist. We can attach relevant files. Under attachment, we can attach relevant files directly to the tags. This could include documents, spreadsheets, images, representation, or other project file. For the comments, team members can also communicate through comments. This keeps the project's related discussion connected to the actual task instead of having important information buried inside emails or chat message. So we also have our checklists. The checklist, we can add checklists for smaller steps within the task. Your dependencies, this allows us to identify relationship between tasks. For example, we may not be able to finish editing the video until recording has been completed. So editing depends on recording. That's where you have your finish to start or start to finish. So let me take you to one of the similar project as this that we've done. So we'll go to our workspace. We have that for business support because this is a department on business support. We'll click on it. So I'm just trying to make you see what it looks like in real sense when you create something. Under our business support, we have a description for it. Sorry, this is for Clickup tutorial. That's for the folder. Anyway, we have a description for it. I don't want to waste your time. So under our business support, you could see tutorial structure workflow. This is actually our space, the space we created here. The space we created here is project management. Under the project management space, we had our description, which enables our team. This is a central workspace for planning, right, and tracking projects, management activities, and content. So we gave a description there. Under that, we have our folder. Our folder, which is content creation projects. So under that too, we also had the description for it. Okay, we didn't write a description, so there you can add your description. And then we now have our lists. Sorry, AI is actually taking on, so let me just go directly here. So this is our list. Yeah, under our list we have our tasks. So we had the tasks, project planning. Under project planning we had six subtasks under it. So for project planning, for the ClickUp full tutorials, We had our subtasks. For us to be able to achieve project planning, we need to be able to define our tutorial scope, develop the course outline, prepare project charter, create our work breakdown structures, identify our target audience, and define the learning objective. We also have assignee here, we have our due date, we have our priority, we have our dependencies, and so on and so forth. So this is exactly how our workspace looks like on Clickup when doing all that. So we could see how we're able to create a workspace, how we're able to create our space, how we're able to create our folder, and how we're able to create our lists. So ClickUp allows us to view the same project in different ways. The first is the list view. This is our list view. What you're seeing here is our list view. List view provides a structured view of our tasks and is used when we want to see detailed information such as assignee, dates, priorities, and status. Next, we'll look at the board view. This is the board view. This is what the board views look like. Board view gives us a Kanban style visual workflow. We can move tasks from one status to another as the work progresses. We also have our calendar view. So before we get to calendar view, if we check our board view, you could see our different tasks, our subtasks, right? You could see if they are in progress, if they are completed, currently, not in progress, tasks are not being completed. So once that is being filled in, it actually shows there on our board view. So next we're going to look at is the calendar view. Calendar view allows us to see tasks based on their dates. This is particularly useful when deadlines and scheduling are important. So if we have that, you could see we have plan. So there's a task here that was scheduled for 12th of August. So we have that there. So next we're going to look at is our timeline view. Timeline view provides a visual representation of when tasks are planned to start and finish. So this is where you have your timeline view. We also have our Gantt charts, which are especially useful for project scheduling. They allow us to visualize task durations, dependencies, milestones, and the overall project timeline. Depending on your ClickUp plan, some features may have different availabilities. So we'll look at workload. Workload view helps us understand how much work is assigned to different team members. This can help project managers identify work that is overloaded or identify overloaded team members and redistribute the work when necessary. Now let's talk about one of the features that can be particularly valuable to project managers. That is the dashboard. If you check on the home page on your left, after the home planner AI team, we have the dashboard, right? So I'll click on it. A dashboard gives us a high level of view of what's happening in our project. So let's create a dashboard. Say let's click on the plus button. So it actually gives us a template of what we're looking for. Either you need a simple dashboard. Most of this dashboard depending on your plan, right? So you need to actually check the plan before you pick it. Some of them needs to be paid before you use them. So we'll click on simple dashboard. Simple dashboard is free. We'll click on that. We're building a dashboard. So it's going to ask us where it wants us to, what data it wants to visualize, right? So we'll go to project management, click on it. and then we create our dashboard. So we can add different widgets depending on the information we want to monitor. For example, we could add widgets showing task completion, overdue tasks, workload priorities, or project progress. The idea is to turn project data into information that can help us make decisions. We could also track progress. Instead of opening every individual task, a project manager can use the dashboard to quickly understand how the project is progressing. It also helps us to see works that are overdue. We can monitor overdue tasks. This helps us to identify potential delays early and take corrective action. We can also monitor workload to make sure responsibilities are distributed appropriately across the team. So you could see here already, this is a dashboard, or you could call it a report. So if you're willing to give your report to management on how far your project has gone, this is where dashboard comes in. AI for Clickup already has an AI that has given us an executive summary of what this project, or where this project is. You could see we already have, since we've not started because this is an example, we already have 142 tasks, none is in progress, none is being completed. If you check our workload status, there is nothing there. Then if you go down to our total tasks by assignee, you can see it's only assigned to one person. It has not been assigned to team members yet. Tasks completed this week, none. Then you could see tasks, open tasks by assignee, just this. And then our latest activities and tasks due this week or overdue, we don't have none because these particular projects have not really started imputing things to make it look. So you can see from the executive summary, there was a key effort and initiative, right? That is it from AI. So whatever you needed to change, if it's not going in line, you could actually do that editing there. So this is what our dashboard looks like with ClickUp. You could actually schedule reports with it, right? So every Monday at 9 a.m. receive an email report for this dashboard. So that's it. There will be an update for you depending on what you do. You could also, there's a share button here to share it to management, or you need to share the report with your team, or maybe with your line manager, or whoever needs the report. And as well, you can download it. So it could actually come out as a PDF for you to be submitted via mail or wherever you want to send this report across. ClickUp also includes docs, which can be used for projects, documentation. For example, we can create project plan. So if you come down here to the home, you see docs, you click on it to take you to doc, to bring you, open up to where you have the doc folders. So for example, we can create project plan, meeting notes, standard operating processes, project guidelines, and other important documents. Yeah. Instead of keeping meeting notes in separate application, we can create them directly within our ClickUp environment. So if you're having a meeting on this particular project, well, after the meeting, ClickUp does that for you. And you know that, okay, these are the meeting notes from the last meeting we had under this particular project. We can also create standard operating procedures or SOPs so that the team members can easily access documented processes. Depending on your ClickUp plan and the features available to your account, ClickUp also provides AI capabilities that can assist with tasks such as summarizing information, generating content, and working with project documentation. AI should be viewed as an assistant rather than a replacement for project management judgment. Always review AI generated information before using it for important project decision. Now let's look at some practical best practices that you can apply when using ClickUp. Number one, the use of subtasks. Don't create a massive task. Break your large piece of work into smaller, manageable tasks and subtasks. Two, keep status simple. Don't create too many status. Your workflow should be clear enough that team members immediately understand what each status means. Number 3, name tasks clearly. Use clear and action-oriented task names. Instead of writing website, write something specific such as review homepage design. 4, set realistic due date. Don't assign unrealistic deadlines simply to make your project look faster. Your schedule should reflect what the team can realistically achieve or accomplish. 5, review your dashboard. Regularly review your dashboard. A project management system is only useful when the information inside it is kept up to date. Make it a habit to review progress, overdue date, risks, overload, and upcoming deadlines. And that brings us to the end of our Clickup project management tutorials. In this course, we covered how Clickup is structured, how to create a workspace, how to create a project, how to build tasks and subtasks, how to manage deadlines and priorities, how to use different project views, how to create dashboards, how to uh, uh, do automation work. We actually did a bit of that, but not fully. More importantly, we looked at ClickUp from a project management perspective, not simply as a software application. Remember, the goal isn't to use every feature available. The goal is to create a project management system that makes your work more organized, visible, and manageable. If you're new to ClickUp, I recommend starting with a small project and practicing the concepts we've covered in this tutorial. Once you're comfortable with the basics, you can gradually introduce advanced features such as dependencies, the Gantt charts, dashboards, automations, and workflow management. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with another project manager or project coordinator who wants to learn ClickUp. And if there's a specific ClickUp feature you'd like me to cover in a future tutorial, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.